Learn how Alex the Addict found the cure, the only way to control your mind, and the magic quintet for happiness.
Welcome to No Bow Tie, where we conquer emptiness and frustration, discover our uniqueness, and live with unrelenting joy. I'm John No Bow Tie Swoboda, author and musician. Today's episode, we're going to talk about the greatest benefits of feeling down. Be sure to subscribe. Have you ever had a great day where nothing stuck out as to why you had the great day? You just felt good. And the next day didn't go so well and you didn't feel good? A friend of mine, Marcy, she told me that one day she woke up and it was the best day. She felt good throughout the whole day. And it was almost confusing because when she got done living this day out, she realized she hadn't won the lottery. She didn't get a raise at work. She didn't meet a special somebody. And all she really did was drive to and from work, did her job, and she felt really good inside. She went to bed feeling secure that everything was okay. And again, it was a little confusing. She couldn't figure out why she felt so good, but she would take it, She woke up the next day. Everything was the same job, the same house, the same friends, the same pay, the same car, and the same weather. And she didn't feel good. She felt like crap. And throughout the day, she became even more distorted in her thinking. By the end of the day, she was viewing her family through a negative lens. She suddenly didn't really like the house she was living in. She wanted to get a new car. The confusion on that was nothing had changed. Have you ever had that day? Well, instead of just hoping for a better day, know that you can now do something about it. You can actually get a foothold and change how your next day will go. When you realize that there's something good about feeling down, you also realize that your world is in your thinking. It's your thinking that went astray, not the environment around you. Now, really, review those 2 days and you'll discover the main thing that changed was what's inside of your mind, not in the world itself. It begins in your neurochemistry, and your greatest battle, your greatest weapon toward having good days and fighting forward to create more and more of these wonderful days is knowing about your neurochemistry and using it to your advantage. And you can. So often we go through life just letting the feelings that come up, and we just hope for a better day. You can start creating that day now. I'm excited to share this with you because in your neurochemistry is every emotion that you have. The feeling of love, connection with others, feeling down, agitated, angry, exhilarated, and that wonderful walking on clouds feelings when it just seems like nothing can break your stride. It is in your neurochemistry. You're experiencing it right now. As you go on, we're going to take a look at how to use that to your advantage and how to puzzle piece it together so that when you are in one of those moments, you can reach for the right neurochemical and create another day. Again, you can create the world by changing what's in your mind. Let's do it together. The first one we're going to look at is your cortisol. Cortisol is the feeling of being agitated, aggravated, irritated, angry, frustrated. This is not a fun neurochemical. It is necessary, though, because it teaches you to say no to things. Do you remember if you tried cigarettes when you were a child, you maybe coughed and got nauseated, your cortisol was saying, no, not me. And it's a telltale sign, a signal to you from your body of what to do next. If you're threatened, you feel cortisol. If you're in a bad relationship, you feel cortisol telling you what to do next. It doesn't tell you what to do about it, but it tells you, this is not for me. The next one we're going to look at, oxytocin. Oh, the beauty of oxytocin. Oxytocin is the feeling of connection. When you pet an animal, hug a person, or feel welcomed at your surprise party. Oxytocin is where it is. Feeling in love and holding another person and breaking down those barriers of separateness. Oxytocin. We're going to talk about how to produce more oxytocin in your world in just a moment. The next one is the dopamine. Dopamine is a very popular one because it has to do with addiction, and it is an absolute blast to get that splash of dopamine in you. Unfortunately, if you pull that from outside of you too much, it can lead to addiction with drugs, gambling, shopping, all, you know the list. We all try to avoid them, but it's a great lure. Another neurochemical that is helpful to us is endorphins. Endorphins helps us mask pain, both emotionally and physically. You've heard of the runner's high, that if a marathon runner does not get the endorphins to kick in, they're going to be in a lot of pain. And that feeling of exhilaration will not be there. It'll just be a feeling of exhaustion. But you can use that one to your advantage. You can produce that to help bring all of the other ones together. The last one, serotonin, my favorite, is the feeling of pride and accomplishment. It's the feeling of, hey, I did it. I am somebody. I'm glad that I got that done. Now, these go bad when you reach outside of yourself for these neurochemicals. You can't help but experience, the environment triggering the combination of these in ways that make you feel better. For example, you watch a movie and you walk out feeling better than you felt before. Those neurochemicals are speaking to you. They're coming together. They're forming it. But if the only way that you can that you can feel better is to watch a movie, you've got a real problem, because then your feeling of satisfaction is coming from outside of you, not a decision made from inside. That's what we're going to talk about the most, how to control this so that you're not dependent on your outside world for how you feel. And that is a problem. That is almost a pandemic in itself, that we're reaching outside of ourselves. We grab our phones to see how we feel, to create how we feel. When you do that, working on the outside, it becomes confusing, because if you don't have it, you feel empty and lost and out of control. Let's talk about Alex. Alex had a great life. He had a great job. He would use the pay from his job to go and just to have nothing but fun. He would party. He'd go to horse races. That led to really enjoying the hobby of gambling. He started to get into different kinds of entertainment, rock concerts to motorcycles, because all of these things were such a thrill. And he lost the job. When he lost the job, he didn't have the money to support that thrill. And although he had enough money to get by, his whole life plummeted because his source of exhilaration got erased, and he couldn't buy his happiness anymore. When he couldn't buy that happiness, he just circled down, he spiraled down into a point of depression, and he wasn't aware of how to fight that, because he doesn't know what you now know, that you can use the neurochemicals, you can produce them to support strength in your life. A wise man once said to me, "It's always great to feel better. Just be careful how you get there." So before we go, I'm going to let you in on the most important part, how to control those neurochemicals in yourself. When you're feeling down and frustrated, instead of blaming, take a moment and realize, hey, my neurochemistry is off. Something's not right. And when you become aware of that, you can also detect what might be triggering it. And if you can't control what's triggering it, at least you're aware of what's causing the problem. Force yourself to do the things that are right for you. It sounds so easy. It's not. We live in a world where media pulls you out of it, wanting your soul in their hands. Media wants you to stay shallow. That's the number one thing, because then they can control you. Force yourself to pay attention to the principles that make you work best, the principles that give you a sense of satisfaction and pride. and then move forward knowing that you control it instead of it controlling you. And be sure to step away from the problem if you can. You can do it by reflecting, journaling, keeping a log of intent, and most of all, the big one, gratitude. As soon as you have gratitude and genuinely have it, really feel gratitude and being thankful for what you have and who you know, your whole body chemistry will change and you'll feel it. You can do it right now. Take a moment and smile inside for the people that you love the most, for the accomplishments that you're most proud. Smile inside. And that feeling is your neurochemistry favoring you for balance and getting on your team to carry you forward. And we call that strength, personal strength. Now, if this isn't enough for you, next week we're going to start a 3-part series on how to get out of a rut. I am so excited to present this one to you and share it because it will show you in 3 easy steps with some detail how to get out of ruts in life. And if you're not in one right now, you will probably be in one day, and you're going to be equipped with the tools on how to do that. So we've run out of time. I'm going to leave you with an exhilarating example of music pulled through the no bow tie spirit, taking the formality out of everything, breaking the rules, and having fun. See you next week. Be sure to subscribe.